Family, good morning. Kyle Anderson, Bamboo Football on YouTube. Today is Thursday. It is June 12th. And as you see right here, I'll go full screen immediately. Hayes Fawcett has just posted this on X. An elephant times 3. To me, that means 3 commitments to come at some point in time. Now, does that mean today? Does that mean this hour? Does it mean today, tomorrow, and the next day? I don't know, but it seems like 3 commitments coming for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We were wondering when kind of this levee would break and we'd start to get these commitments, right? Slowly it's come, but man, it seems like today is going to be a busy day. So that's a hell of a tweet. I can't remember the last time that there's been even 2 commits on the same day. Nonetheless, 3. Now, like I said, I don't know if all 3 are going to come, if this is going to be like a trifecta of, one story after another. But, 3 commitments will be revealed soon, basically. Man, this is gigantic news. This is like one of the biggest news days that we've had in some time. And sometimes you get to June and it's kind of like the Sahara Desert, right, for like content creation and covering football. But, man, thank goodness this will be a big day. So let me ask you real quick. And today I was going to talk about the Dream Class anyways. In my pre-show, at least on the offensive side, I have graphics to talk about the Dream Class. And then if breaking news happens, we'll run with it. So let me ask you, before we even start the show, which 3 commitments do you think will come? I mean, we know, look, Jaira Edwards is the safety who was just predicted to Alabama, right? And he has a commitment date of July 5th. He's a 5-star, by the way. I mean, and I know he's canceled a couple other visits. Does he just pull the trigger and commit today? Jaira Edwards? I don't know. The other one that I was thinking, what if Xavier Crowell is just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not committing at the end of the month. I'm committing on June 12th. I think one of them that I know for sure, if I had to be in like a betting man, I would probably say Brian Williams, the 6'4", 4-star wide receiver out of Florida. What do you guys think? Todd is saying Xavier Griffin. That would be crazy because he's a 5-star as well. So if you're just joining us, look, Hayes Fawcett, I'm sure you follow him. If you don't, you should. He just posted this. Elephant times 3. And he said that, he'll post the news as it happens. So we'll talk news if it happens over this hour. But hell of an update to be starting with today. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining. Let me know where you're watching from. We'll do some morning roll call in a few minutes. So times 3, that's where we stand right now at this point in time. And we'll follow the news. All right, today I'm talking about kind of the meat of my show is the Dream Class for Alabama. I think it's fitting, right? It's recruiting. And today I was figuring we'll just do offense, and then tomorrow we'll do defense as we close out the weekend. So keep in mind as we kind of start moving through the show, who would be perfect additions for your Dream Class in 2026? The class of 2025 is legit. All these guys already playing, doing work in the spring. Jeff is asking who Brian Williams is. Good question. I'll talk about him in a minute. He's a 4-star wide receiver, 6'4", right? Lengthy wide receiver that recently took an unofficial visit here. Yeah, we're all about to be busy, right, Jarvis? So anyways, Dream Class. But before I begin, and look, if news happens, I have my phone right here. You guys inside the comment box, alert me if you see something. Then we'll start rolling with the news, all right? But a couple things to go over, a couple things team-related before we shift to recruiting. And like I said, recruiting will be the meat of our show. But yesterday, the SEC released a few more times for Alabama's upcoming schedule. I talked about this a little bit last night on my nightcap show. And if you missed it, let me go over it again. So here's a look at Alabama's 2025 regular season schedule. And again, as news happens, I got you guys covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Florida State, we know that one. It's already 2:30, and all these times right here are Central Time, okay? 2:30 kickoff against Florida State. We knew that one. Louisiana Monroe will be at 6:45. That'll be the night game, first game at Bryant-Denny Stadium on Nick Saban Field, right? Has a nice ring to it. Wisconsin will be at 11 in the morning. Don't worry about those 11 a.m. kicks here in Tuscaloosa because, as I've explained, Alabama now practices in the morning time, so they'll be good to go. They practice at 10. You have Georgia. Now, this was released yesterday. They will play Georgia at 6:30 Central Time, right? On the road in Athens. That'll be a tall task. And Jarvis, can you double check this? Did the line move from 4.5 to now 2 for that game? Because I know that Georgia was the favorite, but has the line slid a little bit? Someone said that on the Facebook channel yesterday. I didn't know. You got Vandy. Now, a lot of these games still are flex games. So being on ESPN, ABC, right? You're going to have a lot of flex games. And what a flex is, basically the week before that game or after, let's say, that Georgia game completes, based on the better matchups, that's when we'll figure out if they're playing at 2:30 or 7 p.m. in some of these games where you see 2 times. So, for example, Vanderbilt, the game could be at 2:30 or it could be at 7 p.m. I personally would love to get Vanderbilt under the lights, 7 p.m. And I think what would be amazing flex is to beat Vanderbilt, beat them handedly under the lights, and literally just shut off the lights after everybody's cleared out, and that's it. Like, don't storm the field. Don't make a big deal out of it. Kalen DeBoer does like a 2-minute press conference and just be like, yeah, it was business. We took care of business today, and we're looking forward to, our next matchup, right? That would be such a hard flex because, Vandy, that was the biggest thing that happened to Vandy in the course of their entire university history. All right, then you have Missouri, another 11 a.m. game. That one's kind of weird. I don't like the early away games at 11, and I don't necessarily know if that's a trap game or whatever, but I don't necessarily like that timing for the game. Tennessee, that's another flex, 2:30 or 7 p.m. I'd love to get that as a night game as well. You need that atmosphere for the 3rd October, right? 3rd weekend of mid-October. South Carolina, I mean, look, we don't want this game to be at night, right? We don't want this game to be at 7 p.m. in Columbia. I think we prefer 2:30. Could you imagine if you're really first, like, monumental road games, Georgia and then South Carolina? Because those games are going to be hard regardless. Imagine those games being in the evening time. Those are tall tasks. You have an open week, which I think is at a perfect time. You get 2 weeks to prep for LSU, which will be a night game at Bryant-Denny, right? 5 or 7 p.m. 5 is kind of a weird time. It'd probably be at 7. Oklahoma at 2:30 or 7, another flex game. East Illinois at 1 p.m. And then going to the Haunted Barn for another flex game at 2:30 or 7 p.m. So that's your schedule. A lot of flex games, so it is what it is. And if you're out there and you're wondering what does flex mean, like John just asked, what does flex mean? Flex means that after the completion of the game before, like let's say Georgia and Alabama finish up, the next day we'll figure out, based on the TV ratings, like the better matchup for the TV networks, they'll determine the 2:30 or that primetime slot at 7 p.m. So actually, I mean, I would imagine that there's a lot of night games this year, and that's better for branding for Alabama football, right? More eyeballs watching that primetime slot. Alabama, the brand speaks for itself, period. So that's the schedule, the times and dates. And if you have questions, just go ahead and post them inside the comment box, and we'll continue to keep you posted on the schedule. All right, this is our new raffle. By the way, Chris Millender, you won yesterday. So still waiting to hear from you. hit me up. That was a hell of a win, by the way, too. So Chris Millender, if you're out there, if you're watching, nmpreps@gmail.com. Hit me up. I'll do some morning roll call in a minute. Today's raffle is also fire. I found this as well. This one is also from Team Fanatics. I've been giving Athletes Thread a little bit of a breather because it seems like it's taken a lot of time for them to ship out their gear. I don't know why, but that's kind of the case. But this one's tight. You got a jacket with the old Alabama logo. All right, King Riz, well then hit us up, bro. And if you want to get into this raffle, this one's tight as well. We've done two really like fire pieces of gear. Same thing applies, right? $10 to enter up to 3 opportunities. Bama_YouTube on Venmo, Cash App, Bama YouTube. And we'll let this run. It is, I think the retail price on this at Team Fanatics is $114, it says. So this is tight. This is a really good one. Jarvis with some breaking team news is saying that the line is actually down to -1. See, you know what? If we would have caught all these lines early, right? Like in January, because Georgia was -4.5. The opening line for Alabama in Florida State, Alabama was 6.5. Those have already slid. All right, Chad, I got you in. I got you in the raffle, Chad. Appreciate you, bro. But this is tight. This one goes hard. And like I said, if you want to get the gear directly, just go on over to Athletes Thread, or this one is Team Fanatics. And you can get the gear. I'll show this a couple different times. And if you're watching on the rewatch, know that this is still open. And I'll probably close it. I'll try to close it at the end of Friday. If we don't have enough raffles, we'll keep moving it in till we can spin the pinwheel. All right. A portion of this does go back to either the Tuscaloosa Soup Kitchen or a project that I'm working on with the Tuscaloosa Juvenile Detention Center, as I've explained. All right. So I don't know why. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Alabama football and UA Athletics on their social media channels, they're running basically a series talking about each position group. I recommend you go watch it. I think last Thursday they had their video was on the wide receivers. Today the video, I already watched it. It came out. It's really good. This one's talking about the defensive line. They're not lengthy videos. They're not even, I don't even know if they're 10 minutes. But they kind of give you an inside look to the defense, and they have some really good interviews. And they're talking with TK right here, who's Tim Keenan III, right, out of Ramsey High School in Birmingham. And straight off, he's like, look, we need to bring the pain. We need to impose our wills into others. And it kind of shows you, the defensive mindset. Like, these guys are hungry. Man, they are really, really hungry. And I think last year weighs on these guys. I really do. Hey, Casey, I got you in the raffle as well. I really think it does weigh on the mind of these guys. And for whatever reason, I feel like the defense is pretty pissed off. I know that the defense is upset about, a couple of lapses that they had. But, with that said, the defense, I felt, found itself towards the end of the season, whereas the offense, we never really saw the best of what the offense could do. But we did see glimpses of the defense taking steps forward. Specifically, even in the last game that they lost against Michigan, I did feel that the defense did show up, right? A lot of the players on the defensive side of the ball against Michigan, I thought, stood up. Because that loss could have been a lot worse. There was a couple third downs, a couple red zone stops at the defense. I was proud of them despite, getting put in some tough circumstances in that game. On this video, they also highlight Freddie Roach, all right? And the cool thing about this was we've spoken about Freddie Roach several times this week because Kamarion Johnson said he's the commitment out of Muscle Shoals, right? That just shut down his recruitment. And look, like Freddie Roach is from Alabama, played here at Alabama, and this video goes on to emphasize that. And they're like, the defensive linemen are speaking about Coach Roach, who, by the way, his title is not only defensive line coach, it's assistant. I think it's either assistant head coach or associate head coach. Either way, I mean, Freddie Roach is doing a damn good job, and he continues to excel in his career. I think we should continue to embrace him. Look, we're never going to get Bo Davis back. So let that go and embrace somebody who still has kind of that Saban mindset. Freddie Roach is all business. He's a damn good coach, and I think he's been doing a good job recruiting. The hardest position to recruit, as I continue to remind you. All right? Again, as news happens, I'll if something breaks, we'll keep you posted. Courtney Morgan just posted an elephant emoji as well. So, Courtney Morgan just posted a elephant emoji. You know what? Out of all the things that they have, they need a better signal. Man, it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step two. Step two. Just kidding. Back when I used to cover Colorado, here's an idea for Alabama football. You'll probably see this somehow, some way. But what they need to do is put out like the city of Tuscaloosa, right? And do like a elephant emoji, kind of like the bat signal. You see what I'm saying? But it'd be like the elephant signal. Did anybody get that? It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you. That a dope beat to step two. Step two. Step two. I think that's Aaliyah, right? R.I.P., man. Oh, my goodness, she was good. And Timberland, remember Timberland and Magoo? Where did they go? Man, shoot. You guys aren't old enough for that. Sammy's got it, though. The video also talks about kind of like risers. They were like, okay, like who could be a riser on the defense? Timberland, right? And they say Edric Hill. And I was like, man, that's good to hear because we heard really good things about not so much Edric Hill, but about Jeremiah Beam in the spring. But to hear the players start talking up Edric Hill, because you guys are always interested in which defensive linemen are going to stand up, right? So, I mean, I heard the players themselves. They were talking about Edric Hill, 100%. You guys are going off that Timberland beat, right? That was a tight beat too, man. They had some good music. That was our golden year for hip hop and R&B. In my radio station back home. Let's see. Micah's saying that the audio is a little bit lower. The audio should be straight, Micah. Maybe hit the refresh. Sometimes if people have like audio issues, just hit the refresh. But keep me posted, bro. So good detail on Edric Hill. Again, you can watch this video on Alabama's social media channels. Yeah, I think it's titled The Bama Standard. And I know there's a YouTube channel that is called The Bama Standard. By the way, they do a great job. They have, a lot of guests and stuff like that. But this series put out by Alabama official is called The Bama Standard. So check it out. And like I always say, like, go check out everybody's content. It's cool with me. Like, there's a lot of great people putting in really great work covering Alabama football. So whether they have a small channel, a really big channel, doesn't matter. Support all of the great content creators and your recruiting websites. All those guys put their heart and soul into it. I promise you. Okay, some commitment dates. Now, this could completely change because it looks like we're getting 3 commitments today. So this is how this will work. All right. I usually go up until 11. What I might do is I might leave the stream kind of running and then come back as news happens. So this might be one long, you-know-what stream, okay? So we'll play it by ear. But in terms of the actual commitment dates that I've gathered so far, and you guys can help me out if I've missed any. And I know Chad wanted me to add Nolan Wilson, Tank Jones, Titan Davis, and Sincere Johnson. Ooh, that could be another one. But here are the commitment dates that I've found so far, okay? So the commitment dates, Sincere Johnson, commitment date of June 19th. Xavier Crowell is a running back. And I'll go over each of these in detail. If you're like, who are these guys? I'll explain a little bit more as we go forward. But if you follow recruiting as a microscope, you'll probably know some of these names and their positions. Xavier Griffin, commitment date on June 29th. Brian Williams, commitment date late June or in July. Cedarian Morgan, commitment date of July 2nd. Booby Feaster, commitment date of July 4th. Man, we're going to be barbecuing that day, right? And then, kicking it with Booby Feaster, hopefully. Jaira Edwards, commitment date July 5th. Malachi Lee, commitment date August 15th. Matt Ponitowski, commitment date August 15th. And then a couple guys, TBA. Now, if you're wondering, if you're like, well, how, if you just joined the show and you're like, what the hell's going on, right? Let me kind of rewind. This is where, so Hayes Fawcett, and this guy, look, he's a young man that works for On3. He works his tail off. He's became pretty much the biggest newsbreaker in the industry. And he tweeted this morning. He typed elephant times 3. To us that follow this and are, kind of absorbed in all this, that means 3 commitments at some point in time. It doesn't say today, but I don't think he'd be trolling. He doesn't troll. He sets things up for bangers. So I'm expecting 3. And I asked people earlier today, I don't know who those 3 will be. I feel like one of the 3 could be Brian Williams, the wide receiver out of Florida. But I don't know, man. All right, King Riz, thank you so much, bro. I got you. So expect 3. And so what I'll do today is cover news as it happens. So I'll probably leave the stream running. I might put up a graphic, and then when commits come, I'll just come back live. And today, this is our raffle. We do weekly raffles, 2 to 3 a week. Bama_YouTube if you want to get in for this fire jacket. I got it from Team Fanatics. Retails for $114. It's 10 to get in, up to 3 opportunities. You can also hit Cash App, Bama YouTube, and also Super Chats will get you in as well. So if you're like new to Super Chats, you hit the dollar icon inside the comment box. All right. Getting back to those commitment dates, this is what it looks like. And if we find out more dates, we'll put them on the board. All right. All right, so if you're part of the show, we do like a morning roll call just to see who's here. It's Alabama football fans. We're breaking bread together. We're hanging out. I'll run through this real quick just to give some shout-outs to people that are on the show. Darian, what's up, man? Good to see you as well. Jarvis says, Hayes Fawcett about to be a busy man, 100%. Jeff, good to see you, man. Joe Crooms, I appreciate you being here. Wade out in South Carolina. Daniel Adams always rocking with us. Melon Jesus, the artist formerly known as Sean. Ryan Harris up in the house. Max Tooney, of course. Official CJ Jackson. You got Daniel Adams, Todd. Love the support. BJ, what's up, man? Good to see you. Chris Waltman. Chad Kennedy, of course. Timothy. Let's see who else we got up in here. Twan. Twan's coming to us from Florida. I know that. Jeff. Gerald Baxter. That's crazy. I used to I have a friend named Gerald Baxter, but they call him Co. That's crazy. Let's see who else we got. Derek, what's up, man? Good to see you. DJ Witz, good to see you as well. Kimberly, of course, fresh off her birthday a couple days ago. Same thing with Jarvis. It was his birthday recently. Mindy Miss Careless, Alex Wilder, of course, part of the Undefeated. Dan Caraway, huge supporter. Stephen Hicks. Robert Bradley Jr. up in the house. And we got a super from Joe Crooms. Appreciate you, Joe. We'll put you in the raffle as well, bro. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Wits. All good, brother. And DeMarco Baxter, what's up, man? I haven't seen you up in here, man, but welcome on in, DeMarco. Be yourself, bro. Welcome on in. So today, I don't know how this is going to happen, when these guys are going to commit, but Hayes Fawcett said roll tide times 3. So that means to me that at some point in time, guys are going to commit. So how this will happen, I'll continue to work through my segment. And by the way, this next segment is sponsored by our good friends in West Memphis, Arkansas, and Marion, Arkansas, where I-55 and I-40 meet, right? I love Sonic. I think there's only one person inside the comment box that doesn't like Sonic. Is it Daniel? I don't think Daniel likes Sonic. But a cherry limeade would be nice, right? To celebrate with 3 commitments. That's all I'm saying. And some cheese tater tots with some, right? Just for a little snack. All right, so I built out the dream class, and I want some feedback here. So when I say that, you guys let me know what you think will happen. All right, in terms of a dream class. And tomorrow we'll do defense. And tomorrow, who knows, we might have a lot more to talk about if there really is 3 commitments today. All right. So let's see. And I'll start out with the quarterback position. And to my knowledge, these are the 3 quarterbacks. These screens are from On3. I use On3. I use 24/7. You know, stay with your recruiting sites. I've explained many different times that the interface for me on 3 makes more sense to me. But I know like the recruiting guys do an amazing job at each place. So to each their own. So for quarterback right here, in terms of a dream class, let's go over the 3 prospects that Alabama has extended offers to from the class of 2026, starting on the left side with Jet Thamala. Now, Jet Thamala is currently committed to Iowa State. He's 6'5". He's a 4-star, right? Industry ranking of 91.08. This is a big-time player, and he was recently here in Tuscaloosa for an unofficial visit, okay? Now, he's committed to Iowa State, and he went back to Iowa State this last weekend for his official visit. So we'll, I think he has a lot to think about, and I honestly think that Alabama's really on his mind. 6'5", okay? Then you have Matt Ponitowski, a 6'2", 190-pound quarterback out of Ohio. Okay. Gatorade Player of the Year for football and baseball. And to my knowledge, if he does come here, he'd like to play baseball as well. And then a new addition, as of yesterday, is the young man on the right. Now, I have to dive more into this because Taden Kawa, right? He's listed out of Honolulu, Hawaii. I think he's from Hawaii, but I think he plays, and Chad pointed this out yesterday, I think he plays his high school football in Utah. So I'll have to, read up a little bit more on him, but I do like his size. He's 6'4", 225 pounds, right? I was kind of hoping that he was playing out in Hawaii, and I think he is obviously Hawaiian. So if you could have another Hawaiian quarterback, I just love that because the last one that we had over here, it worked out pretty good for Alabama, right? So now my feedback question for you. Out of these 3 quarterbacks that Alabama has offered at this point in time, and the quarterback roster here, we only have 3 quarterbacks, Ty, Austin, and Keelan Russell, right? Which quarterback, and we're talking dream class here, dream class, which quarterback do you think commits to the Tide? And which quarterback, let me ask you this. Which quarterback would you like to see commit in terms of your dream class? So go ahead and sign up right now. You could, and just post their first name. So you could type J for Jet, type M for Matt Ponitowski, and type in T for Taden Kawa. All right, let's see the answers come in. Bruce has Tatum. You know what? I'm kind of, I think that I am, I think that being from Hawaii has got me twisted. So I'm kind of going with Tatum for like my dream quarterback because, you know, I'm still reminiscent about Tua. I love Tua. And I loved, you know, that we had someone from Hawaii here because when we start to talk about the offensive line, this is my dream to have Kawa here and then having Malachi Lee as a tackle blocking for him. All right, so everyone's saying Tay-Tay. Okay. So, I mean, the people have spoken. There's so many people inside the comment box that, you know, want T up in here. Steven, everybody's saying Kawa. You know what I do like about his side, and I haven't had time, but I am going to go through and watch his last year's tape because the young man, I'm talking about Tatum Kawa, he threw for 3,200 yards and I think like 32 touchdowns. Dan Carraway likes Ponatowski. So I don't know, you know, in terms of a dream scenario, I think you're going to be in a good situation either way. And I think, look, I say this openly. I think when you're a quarterback that is going to commit to Alabama right in this particular class, you have to understand that you're going to have to clearly compete, right? But you're going to have to wait for a little bit because Alabama's quarterback depth chart at this point in time is young, right? Hey, Jarvis, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much, man. Jarvis says you have built up one hell of a I appreciate it, man. And I think that, you know, anything with consistency and performance, and if you just keep chomping at the bit, you get there. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and honestly, it's been a little bit of a struggle, you know, just kind of being solo on YouTube, but I think, you know, the consistency and the performance that always, you know, kind of brick by brick. But I think the quarterback that comes here has to understand that they are going to be, you know, they're going to have to wait for a little bit because the quarterback depth chart here is young. And that's look, that's not a bad thing. You want to go somewhere where you can get developed. And I think the longer Ryan Grubb stays here, the better the offense will be, but the better the quarterbacks will be because he is a quarterback developer along with Coach Kalen DeBoer. These guys just need time to develop quarterbacks that fit their system, right? Jalen Milroe didn't fit DeBoer or Ryan Grubb's system. He's a good quarterback in different systems, but not their system, right? And we'll see what he does with the Seahawks, and I hope he does well. I really do, because he's class act all the way. He was a great ambassador for Alabama, despite, you know, things didn't going his way. So that's quarterback. So it seems like we kind of are pulling for Tatum. All right, we're just talking dream scenarios here. Hey, Chanley, what's up, man? I appreciate it. Thank you so much, bro. Thanks for being here. All right, now we move to the running back position. The running back, okay? So I'll go full screen so we can look at some of these guys right here. And I think this will be easy for you in terms of a dream class. And again, if major news happens, I'll cut right to it and we'll talk about it. If somehow you missed it this morning, Hayes Fawcett put out a tweet that said, basically, Roll Tide times 3. What that means to us is 3 commitments, but he didn't give a timeline. That's kind of the best part of all of this, right? All right, so from a running back perspective, here's where things look. And these are prospects that Alabama has hosted. In fact, Xavier Crowell, I think he's here today or yesterday for a 7-on-7 event. But he's the guy that Alabama wants, 100%. I mean, in-state guy, he reclassified, from 2027 to 2026. And straight up, he's a monster. I kind of think, like, watching his highlight tape, he is a blend of Jam Miller and A.K. Deer. And I'm pretty sure he's been predicted to Alabama by Steve Whitfong. I'll have to go back and double check that. But it seems like he's a Bama link. And I know he's been at Texas. He's been at Georgia. Top-end running backs are going to take their visits. They'd be nubbed not to, right? He's going to go see what others have to offer. But I think it seems like Alabama is the place for him. And when you look to Alabama's current depth chart, look, a couple guys are going to leave. Jam Miller's going to move on. And so is your running back that just transferred here, right? Draylen Washington. So you're going to need space for some running backs. But the running back room will be even nice next year. Richard Young, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, A.K. Deer, right? So Alabama also hosted this young man, Derek Cooper, recently out of Florida. I think the lone prospect that they got last year from Florida was Ivan Taylor, if I'm not mistaken, right? Well, I know they got Michael Carroll from IMG, but, I mean, I don't really consider him from Florida. But Derek Cooper was also here. This guy's a monster. He's a 4-star. And then, look, this is kind of the sleeper. And Ryan Estrada out of El Paso, Texas. Raise your hand inside the comment box if you've ever been to El Paso, Texas. I have probably, well, you know, I went to school in Las Cruces for a little bit, New Mexico State. And I used to fly, I've flown out of that airport probably 20 times. So I've been to El Paso a ton of times. El Paso's huge. Is anyone from El Paso here or lived there? It's big, and it's a long city. I'm curious to see if anybody, I mean, we have almost 200 here. Somebody's got to have been through El Paso. And they have, is Fort Bliss too? Military base on one side, on the opposite side of Trans Mountain. Yeah, see? Caitlin Childress, mom's from El Paso. See? Now it's a big city. Because I had I knew some people from Horizon City, which is on the far side of El Paso. But El Paso will put out some athletes for sure. So you have Ryan Estrada, who's a running back. He will be coming in not this weekend, but I think next weekend as well. Hell of a running back out of El Paso. He's out of El Dorado. Yeah, so El Dorado, yeah, they pump out prospects as well. Them and Franklin and Montwood. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see. All right, so those are the running backs. But let me ask you right here. And just go ahead and just post. Who's your dream running back? Type E for Xavier. Type D for Derek. Or type R for Ryan. It better all be E. 100%. And I guess you take you just take one running back, right? In this class. I don't think you take two. I haven't been to San Antonio in a minute. I need to get down there. Is the Riverwalk still nice to go visit? I haven't been to San Antonio in a while. All right, so everyone's saying E, 100%. Better be. Now, this next position, let's see, we got this. Okay, so we got wide receivers next. Now, this has became like a mecca for wide receivers. The wide receivers that you have right now on board are clearly exceptional, and it's a young class. I mean, people, I think sometimes are like, man, well, Ryan Williams is going to go to the NFL after this season. He can't. He's only a sophomore. He's only a sophomore. We get more Ryan Williams in 2026, which just blows my mind. And a lot of the guys are young still. So I don't know how many wide receivers that you take. How many wide receivers do you think Alabama adds? Like 3? Surely they're not going to take 2 wide receivers. You got to take 3 or 4. So here's some wide receivers that I just put. And we're just talking like dream guys that could come, right? So Darian Morgan, out of Alexander City. He's a 5-star. I don't know, where he's leaning, but I know that Alabama would love to have him. And they've done a great job. This would be a hell of an in-state win. If you get Crowell and Sedarian Morgan, because you know what? I kind of think I fell into this narrative a little bit too last year. That like Alabama didn't go after in-state guys. I don't think that was the truth. I kind of calming down after last season and listening to Courtney Morgan speak. If the guys fit the system, it doesn't matter where they're at. And of course they're going to take in-state guys, but they got to fit the program, right? Made total sense to me. Todd is saying 2-3 max for wide receivers because you're heavy on wide receivers already, right? So, man, you get all 3 of these. This is an early Christmas. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I'm an old wide receiver. I like to talk wide receivers. Okay, that's it. So the wide receivers you have here, Sedarian Morgan on your far left, 6'4", 220 pounds. My goodness, what a beast. Booby Feaster, one of the best names that we have running right now for recruiting. Out of DeSoto, are you kidding me? And I think one of the names that we're watching today to commit, Cowboy, what's up, bro? See you inside the comment box. Is Brian Williams. Let me ask you, inside the comment box, do you think that Brian Williams is kind of included in this, 3 to commit today? I don't even know if it's today, so I just kind of want to back up there. We don't know if it's today. I hope it's today. Because I'm home, I'm in front of my computer. I can create content. But usually news happens when I'm rolling. What about Booby Feaster? How are we feeling about Booby Feaster? I haven't seen any predictions for this young man. He was recently here. I know that Ryan Williams was, helping recruit him, kind of giving him the crown, saying like, this is the next king. You got to think the connection from Texas, Keelan being here, right? From Duncanville, DeSoto. I don't know. And still Sedarian Morgan. I don't know if we've seen anything on Sedarian Morgan in terms of like a prediction. All right, next position. Because obviously we'd want to take all 3. But okay, outside of Brian Williams, because I think Brian Williams he's already been predicted to Alabama. So before we move, so I just got a tip. Now this isn't from somebody who necessarily is like on it, but they don't think that recruits are coming today. So, but who knows? I don't know. I wish they would have gave us a timeline. Yo, Hayes, can we get a timeline? All right, so Brian Williams, I feel he's going to commit whenever he commits. Okay. Out of Sedarian Morgan and Booby Feaster, who do you think is more likely to commit to Alabama? Type C for Sedarian Morgan and type B for Booby Feaster. So inside the comment box, type C for Sedarian Morgan or type B for Booby Feaster in terms of the most likely out of those two to commit to Alabama. If you think each of them commit to Bama, then type C and B. Okay, so it looks like early out in front inside the comment box, it looks like Sedarian Morgan. Okay. No, and Chris asked a really good question about Tristan Keys, who's committed elsewhere at this point in time. You know, I thought about adding him too. I don't think that Alabama's done recruiting him at all. And there's more targets clearly that Alabama is involved in. I'm just kind of throwing up some guys that we've talked about, but I think Alabama fans would be thoroughly happy if you did get Tristan Keys as well. But good name to bring up 100%. All right, a couple more to go. We'll do tight ends and then we'll do offensive line. Okay. So your tight ends are Caden Prothrow. I love this name, by the way. And then Xavier Tiller. And, of course, there's more tight ends that they're recruiting. I just kind of put, like, some of the top tight ends. Do you think that – okay, now we're talking tight ends. Do you think that Alabama gets either of these guys? I don't – it doesn't – it seems like these guys – I mean, man, when I discuss tight ends, these are the type of tight ends that I want within the program. Tight ends have been tough to get for Alabama for a while. I feel like Alabama still doesn't have, you know, some of these elite tight ends that can be game changers. And I still feel that, you know, the young man who transferred to Ole Miss, if he would have stayed at tight end, I think he could have been a dominating force. I really do. Caleb Odom, right? Because when Caleb Odom first got here, I mean, let's face it. Look, Caden Prothrow, baller. Xavier Tiller, baller, right? But I think that Caleb Odom was better than each of these guys as a tight end. But you guys are saying Sutter as a tight end. And I still feel that if Caleb Odom would have stayed at tight end, he would have been like the guy this year. But if the guy doesn't want to be here and if he wants to be in another position, you know, whatever. And we kind of moved past it. But I felt out of all the guys that, you know, he should have stayed at tight end. We're going to move to offensive line next. Okay, so for the offensive lineman, and like I said, we're going to do defense tomorrow. But when we look to the offensive linemen, and of course they're recruiting more offensive linemen than these four, right? But you have two that are already committed on this side. So you have Chris Booker, who was the first offensive lineman to commit. He's out of Atlanta. He's a 4-star, right? And then you have Sam Utu, who just committed. Big man, 6'5", 330. And then two guys that were recently here visiting, and they've had a couple other guys coming in. But you have Malachi Lee and Bryson Cooley. Does this seem like these are going to be the guys in Alabama's class that end up committing? Damn, I'd love to get Malachi Lee along with Utu. I mean, this here we go, right? This could be, I guess, Booker's going to need to bump up, but there's your two guards and a tackle. Throw in another tackle. There's your other tackle, and you just need to figure out who's going to be your center. Yeah, I'm telling you, Dan. Dan's like, it just saw 6'7". Malachi Lee's a monster. If you had missed it, he's the young man that brought his whole family here. He's from Hawaii. And Utu's a road grader, right? So this is just the offense, and these are the names that I've been discussing, and we haven't, clearly, the defensive names, and once you start to see them on board, you're going to feel great about the defense as well. That's why I'm telling you, I strongly feel that Alabama's class, this class of 2026, will climb quickly. And I think they'll probably finish out as a number 1 or number 2 in the recruiting rankings. I mean, I'm just putting it together. I mean, here it is in front of you. All right, so in case you missed it, let me go back to the beginning of time. This is the raffle that we have today, okay? Bama_YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube. You can get in here with a super chat as well. $10 to enter, up to 3 opportunities. We got Chad, we got Casey, we got Joe Crooms in right now. Spin it tomorrow. This is fire, right? It's a jacket, it's a zip up, has the old Alabama logo. And if you watch on the rewatch, just know that it's still open till the end of Friday. But kind of everything started, the catalyst to all this was the fact that Hayes Fawcett does an amazing job breaking recruiting news, posted this morning. He said, an elephant times 3. But he didn't give a timeline, right? I mean, that's on the players. It's whenever the players want to announce. But that does indicate to us that good news is coming. In fact, Courtney Morgan, about 30 minutes later, also posted an elephant emoji. Those are kind of like your Batman signals. That means good news is coming. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but know that if I'm around a computer or if I have good service, I will be live talking Alabama football. Cowboy in with the super. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. I've entered you into the raffle. And King Riz, let me just double check. I got your email from your winnings yesterday. Actually, King Riz, I still didn't get the email. Here's the email real quick, one more time, in case you missed it. nnpreps@gmail.com. So here we stand, with, I guess, commitment watch. So know this. Breaking news, Bama football on YouTube. Breaking news, Bama football on YouTube. All right? So I'm going to kill the stream now, and then, if we have to fire it back up, I'll be live. If I'm by a computer, I just got invited to lunch. So if you want news to happen, should I go to lunch and make this happen? Because I promise you, if I go out to go eat right now, we will have a commitment. This is how it always, I've done this for 20 years, okay? Yeah, I've covered Alabama for 9, but I covered the same thing for, 12 years before. So if you want breaking news, send me to lunch. If you want really big news, put me on an airplane. Every time I land, I'm like, no way, the coach retired? That's why I was so amazed that when Coach Saban retired, I was here. I was next door in my daughter's room mounting a TV. Remember when we were streaming all day? That was crazy. All right. I love you, fam. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a good show. I think I should go to lunch, right? Yeah. I'm just nervous. I don't want to miss something. All right, fam. Breaking news as it happens, or when I'm back at the computer, hopefully me going to lunch spurs something. All right. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this fine Thursday, June 12th. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Look, I'm eating. We're about to all eat probably. 3 commitments coming your way at some point in time. I love you. Stay locked on. Bama Football on YouTube. It's the Asian buffet. Kyle Henderson's coming for you. Come soon right here on